4 days ago, on April 23, 2026, Sony AI published a research paper on the cover of Nature, the most prestigious scientific journal on the planet. And the announcement inside that paper is one of the most significant moments in the history of robotics and artificial intelligence that almost nobody outside of research circles is talking about right now. Sony built a robot called Ace, and Ace just defeated professional human table tennis players in a real competitive match. Not in a simulation, not in a carefully staged demo where the robot was allowed to practice for months on a fixed setup while the human was blindfolded. In actual competitive matches, under official rules, against players who train for years to reach the professional level. Ace won. And if your first reaction is, so what, it's just table tennis, then you are missing the point so completely that it is worth stopping and explaining exactly why this result is one of the most important things that has happened in AI and robotics this year. Table tennis is not a simple sport for a robot to master. It is genuinely one of the hardest possible real-world problems you could give an AI and robotics system to solve. And the reason comes down to three things: speed, spin, and unpredictability. The ball in competitive table tennis can travel at over 100 kilometers per hour. It bounces off the table in fractions of a second. Professional players apply extreme amounts of topspin, backspin, and side spin to the ball, and detecting the exact spin on a moving ball in real time with enough accuracy to calculate the correct return shot requires a level of visual processing and physical reaction speed that sits right at the absolute limit of what any system, biological or mechanical, can achieve. A professional human player has roughly 250 to 300 milliseconds from the moment the ball leaves their opponent's paddle to the moment they have to commit to a return stroke. That is a quarter of a second. Within that quarter of a second, the player has to track the ball's trajectory, read the spin, calculate where it will bounce, decide what type of return to make, move their body into position, and execute the stroke with the right speed, angle, and spin to put the ball where they want it. This is why AI researchers have been trying to crack competitive table tennis for decades. The problem is not computational intelligence. It is the brutal combination of real-time physical perception, split-second decision-making, and precise motor execution, all happening simultaneously in a chaotic environment that changes with every single shot. Previous robot table tennis systems could handle controlled rallies against recreational players in lab environments. The moment you put them against a serious competitive player who started mixing up spins and placements unpredictably, the systems collapsed. They could not generalize. They could not adapt in real time to shots they had not seen before. And here is the part that makes Ace different from every previous attempt. Sony's team published the results of matches played in December 2025 and March 2026 against players who had never faced Ace before. Players the robot had no prior data on, whose playing styles it had never analyzed, whose specific spin techniques and placement patterns it had never encountered. In the December matches, Ace faced 4 players, 2 professionals and 2 elite amateurs. It defeated both elite players and one of the 2 professionals. In the March 2026 matches, Ace faced 3 professional players it had never played before. It defeated all 3 of them at least once. That last result is the one that matters most. Ace defeating professionals it had never seen, adapting to playing styles it had no prior data on, in real competitive conditions. That is not a controlled demo. That is genuine generalization in a high-speed physical environment. And it has never been done before at this level. But to really understand why this is a landmark moment in AI and robotics history, you need to understand what Sony actually built under the hood, because the architecture of Ace tells you something very important about where physical AI is heading. The system Ace uses is not a single neural network that just got really good at table tennis through brute force training. The architecture is explicitly designed to solve the fundamental problem that has held back physical AI for decades: the gap between fast reflexive response and slow deliberate reasoning. Sound familiar? It should, because this is the exact same two-system architecture that NVIDIA built into GR00N1 for humanoid robots. System 1 is fast, instinctive, automatic. It handles the split-second physical responses that happen too fast for conscious reasoning. System 2 is slow, deliberate, and analytical. It handles planning, strategy, and adaptation over longer time horizons. ACE has both of these layers running simultaneously, and the key innovation is in how they communicate. The fast layer handles real-time ball tracking and stroke execution. It is processing visual input from high-speed cameras, calculating ball spin and trajectory, and executing motor commands in milliseconds. The slow layer is running a higher-level strategic model, analyzing the opponent's tendencies, identifying patterns in their shot selection, deciding what areas of the table to target, and adjusting the overall game plan in between rallies. The result is a system that can react fast enough to return a 100 km/h spinning ball, and also smart enough to build a strategic picture of its opponent and exploit weaknesses over the course of a match. That combination, at this level of physical performance, is genuinely new, and the implications extend far beyond sport. Peter Stone, the chief scientist at Sony AI, said it directly in the announcement. This breakthrough is much bigger than table tennis, and he is right. Here is why. For decades, AI has been superhuman in digital domains. Deep Blue beat Kasparov at chess in 1997. AlphaGo defeated the world champion at Go in 2016. OpenAI 5 beat the world's best Dota 2 players in 2019. But all of these were victories in controlled, fully observable digital environments, where the AI had perfect information about the game state, where physics did not apply, where there was no real-world sensor noise, no physical motor errors, no unpredictable environmental variation. Moving AI from the digital world into the physical world, where you have to deal with real sensors, real actuators, real physics, real latency, and real unpredictability, has been the hardest unsolved problem in the entire field. The gap between what AI could do on a screen and what it could do with a physical body in the real world has been enormous and stubborn. ACE is the first clear, peer-reviewed, independently verified evidence that this gap is closing, not in a simple physical task like sorting boxes or walking in a straight line, in one of the most demanding, real-time physical perception and control challenges ever devised, fast enough to require reaction times at the edge of human biological limits, complex enough to require strategic adaptation across a full competitive match. Sony's researchers are explicit about this in the Nature paper. The reason they chose table tennis was precisely because it sits at this extreme edge of physical and cognitive demand. It requires exceptional real-time sensing, continuous adaptation to an unpredictable opponent, precise motor control under time pressure, and strategic reasoning across a full match, all at the same time. If you can build a system that solves table tennis at the professional level, the same underlying architecture applies to any real-world task that requires fast perception, physical precision, and adaptive decision-making under uncertainty. That covers a stunning range of real-world applications. Surgical robotics, where precision and reaction time are life or death. Warehouse automation, where robots need to handle objects they have never seen before. Disaster response, where robots need to navigate unpredictable environments in real time. And yes, humanoid robots that need to work alongside humans in unstructured environments, where nothing is predictable and everything moves fast. What Sony has done is not build the best table tennis robot in history. What Sony has done is prove that a physical AI system can combine real-time perception, millisecond motor control, and strategic adaptive intelligence at a level that beats the best human experts in a domain that was specifically chosen because it maximizes the difficulty of all three simultaneously. And they published the proof in Nature, the gold standard of scientific verification, not in a press release, not in a YouTube video, not in a company blog post that nobody can independently verify. This is peer-reviewed science, confirming a physical AI capability milestone that the field has been working toward for decades. Now zoom out for a second And look at what April 2026 has already produced. A robot ran a half marathon faster than any human in history. Tim Cook resigned from Apple because AI is moving too fast for his era of leadership. DeepSeek dropped a new flagship model challenging the best American labs. Sony proved that physical AI can beat professional humans in a real-time competitive sport. And this is a single month. The pace of this is not slowing down. It is accelerating. The moments that define technological eras rarely announce themselves loudly in real time. Most people are not paying attention when the line gets crossed. They notice years later, looking back, asking themselves when exactly it happened. Ace crossing the table tennis milestone on April 23, 2026, published on the cover of Nature. That is one of those moments. The question is no longer whether physical AI can match human performance in complex real-world tasks. Sony just answered that question. The question now is how fast this generalizes. How quickly the same architecture that won a table tennis match gets applied to surgery, to manufacturing, to disaster response, to every domain where human physical performance has been the ceiling that technology could not break through. That ceiling just developed a very serious crack.